that old Mad TV skit? Lowered expectations. Like, I've been sitting here all year trying to lower the expectations of Bears fans to ground them in reality. The reality is the 5-1 start, complete and total fluke. Fluke! Fluke! To expect this team to be a contender is ridiculous. To actually encourage this team as it is currently constructed and currently led to be the epitome of mediocrity is also ridiculous. But Bears fans just couldn't help themselves, could they? They just didn't want to listen. They got caught up in the hype. Well, the past couple of weeks should have helped to lower expectations, because another week goes by and the wheels on the bus are falling off, falling off, falling off. The wheels on the bus are falling off. I told you all. You didn't listen. Yeah, exactly. Woo! That game against the Saints was something. Like, on the one hand, this was an eminently winnable game. The Saints' defense, while good against the run, somewhat suspect against the pass. Well, it doesn't matter because the Bears have Foles and that crappy offensive line, but nonetheless, you also look at the Saints and you say, Drew Brees is washed. And make no mistake about it. Even though you're going to probably say something like, oh, he threw for 287 yards and 2 touchdowns in the game, so he can't be washed. Dude's washed. Like, I thought he was a little washed. Like, he is washed. Bad. Any remaining arm talent he's had over the past couple of years is shot. It's gone. And yet, here are the Bears at home. Granted, short week coming off of the embarrassing loss on Monday night to the Rams. But in a situation where this is an eminently winnable game, and if you want to get serious about making the playoffs, and you want to fool yourself into thinking that you're a really good team, this is the type of game you absolutely positively must win. And especially when you look at the way that everything kind of played out. You know, this team was up early on. They were up double digits at one point, weren't they? Like, you get to the point where, you know, it's towards the end of the second quarter, the Bears score, and the one thing they can't have happen, especially with them getting the ball first back in the second half for the Bears, is they can't let the Saints come down and get any points. Don't want to give them a field goal. And instead, they go a whole different level, and they just give them a touchdown. And at that point in time, you realize, uh-oh, this team's in some damn trouble. And they were. Like, what happened there in that last drive to close out the first half, and then as you went into the third quarter and the beginning of the fourth, like, it was a train wreck for the Bears. It was an absolute train wreck. You know, people are going to focus on the Javon Wims thing, and yeah, don't get me wrong, you're a role player. Unless they sent you in there intentionally to goon the game up, John Chaney style, you can't do that. Because even with what had happened right before the half, the Bears were in somewhat of a decent spot. And that play right there just put them in a really, really bad spot. It took away momentum for the Bears. You could sense the whole game had kind of shifted. You could even hear from the damn commentators, especially Troy Aikman, how irritated and even annoyed he was with this game, and in particular, this Bears offense. Like, when you get into the fourth quarter, and once you let Taysom Hill of all damn people take you to route school and get an easy, wide open touchdown, like you got two guys hovering around him, but nobody bothered to cover him. It was a theme of the game for the Bears secondary. What the hell were they doing? You sit there, and all of a sudden, the Bears are down 23-13. Like, it was a dramatic shift in momentum of the game, and it flipped just like that. And part of it was based on allowing that touchdown drive at the end of the half, and I had talked about it on Twitter at that time, that if the Bears lose this game, it's something like that you point to and say that was the moment that the game changed, and it absolutely was. Javon Wims was just gasoline on the fire that was already burning, this dumpster fire that is the Chicago Bears 2020 season. And lo and behold, somehow, someway, the Saints managed to let the Bears back into the game. How did this happen? Because some Bears fans are going to sit there and say, maybe they didn't watch the game, or maybe they're just being oblivious or caught up in their own markdom BS for this mediocre-ass organization. They're going to sit there and say, well, they did put up 23 points today, so they can't be all that bad offensively. What the hell game did you watch? Now, admittedly, up until that touchdown drive of the Saints to end the first half, the Bears in general were playing a pretty good game on both sides of the ball. But you could kind of see some of the warning signs starting to creep back up again. And even as the Bears found a way late, the one thing this team has going for it is they've played in a lot of close games this year. So they know how to play in close games. They know how to come from behind. You know, it's a little bit of a credit to kind of the heart and determination of the roster and the team that they were able to force this game into overtime. But, you know, I opined on Twitter that nobody really deserved to win this game. And the reality is neither one of them did. Neither one of them did. They both had elements that were absolutely train wreck worthy. Like, you look at Matt Nagy. What the hell are you doing running the ball under a minute to go and forcing yourself to burn one of your timeouts? Like, what in the hell are you doing? Just consistently bad clock and game management shown by this asshat week after week. Let's not forget about hey, we're going to try and draw them off sides here with a hard count on 4th and 1 inside of our own damn 20-yard line and then take a delay account. Like, that's the type of stupid stuff. You come out of the frickin' halftime, and that's what you do. And then you push your punter back, which leads to the big return by frickin' the Saints returner was a Harris. It doesn't matter. That's the point. And then you get to overtime. And the Bears defense, try as they might, eventually caved. Gave up one too many big plays in the running game to Alvin Kamara. And even at the end of the game, like, Sean Payton, what the hell are you doing? You've now forced the Bears to use their last timeout because they're icing the kicker. Why don't you run a couple of more plays? Because if you miss that kick, then yes, the Bears don't have any timeouts, but they got close to 1:40 of game action, and all they have to do is drive down the field a little bit and potentially get into field goal range, which based off the way your defense was playing the last 3 minutes of that fourth quarter was certainly a possibility. Sean Payton got caught up in the mediocrity of the suck that's Matt Nagy and his clock management, his game and situational awareness, and it almost cost the Saints here. But the Saints ultimately did prevail, winning in overtime 26-23. The Saints now sitting at 5-2, and the Bears, losers of their last two now, sit at 5-3, and at the moment outside of the playoff picture in the NFC. Imagine my lack of surprise. Like, what do you rant about here? Do you rant about the offense? Like, there were several times in this game, Nick Foles cannot take those sacks. Like, the one sack on second down was particularly brutal. He's lucky he got bailed out with the great throw and even greater catch by Allen Robinson on the 3rd and 15. But later on in the game, it's a big third down situation. You're rolling out. Either run the ball or throw the ball or do something. You can't sit there and just wait like a ding-dong, like you're playing rookie mode in Madden yourself while playing against All-Pro and getting your crap rocked. Like, Trubisky at least could run. Like, there's been things that Foles has done. The interceptions, the almost interceptions. Look at the 4th down play where he's rolling backpedaling the whole time. He's lucky that damn thing didn't get picked too. It should have been a pick. So the stat line is not going to look as bad as the game really was for Foles. Like, at one point in time, you sit there and say, your offensive line stinks. Gee, imagine the absolute lack of surprise that an offensive line that already has 2 crappy tackles in Leno and Massey, questionable strength on the interior, and now doesn't have Daniels and Whitehair, and you have no depth there because your asshat of a general manager, Ryan Pace, failed to address that area of the team. Imagine my lack of surprise when the offensive line is total cheeks. If your offensive line is going to be total cheeks, Dick Foles, whatever the hell you want to call him, his lack of mobility and his
unwillingness to leave the pocket is a liability, not an asset. That is for damn sure. Like, seriously, you look at some of these throws, you know, like some of these others that happen, you say, Trubisky could have beaten that sack. Why in the hell at this point are you persisting on playing Foles? This offense is not really any better. When you take away some of the garbage time stuff, how can you sit there and say unequivocally that this offense is so much better under Foles? Nick Foles is trash. Trash. And for some of you that are trying to talk about, well, thank God Ryan Pace brought in Nick Foles instead of Cam Newton or Randy Dalton. Who looks like the Riri now, idiots? The hell is the difference? This team is sliding down the hill. So offensively, like, it's ironic, David Montgomery had 21 carries, I think, for 89 yards. Yeah, 38 of them came on one run, whatever. Offensive line still consistently getting their ass whipped in the running game. Still consistently blocking like Swiss cheese in the passing game. Nick Foles, horrible decisions. Some really bad, inaccurate throws. Like, even when you look at the pass interference penalty that the Saints got called out against Jimmy Graham in the end zone, you know, they're kind of lucky because that throw by Foles was also off the mark. Like, he's fouling Foles at this point. He's terrible. He is total ass cheeks. Like, where is the consistency of accountability here? There is none, clearly. Because you cannot sit there and say with a straight face that Nick Foles has been so star-spangled better and awesome than friggin' Mitchell Trubisky. And then when you look at this team, and you say, okay, well, we just entirely blame the offense. You know what? You can't just do that in today's game either. That's how the mediocrity of the suck of the Bears offense is trickling over to the defense. Because I don't know what the hell Chuck Pagano was doing with his play calling on defense. You know Drew Brees is washed up. You can clearly see the dude struggles to throw anything more than 5 yards down the field. It is an adventure. In order for you to feel any confidence at all that you can actually complete those passes, dudes have to be incredibly wide open, or he has to throw it so far ahead of time that in and of itself is risky. And then you've got your secondary, in particular your corners, consistently playing 7 to 10 yards off the man, playing that Dave Wanstead, Walt Harris toast kind of chicken shit defense. And it burned you multiple times for touchdowns. Get up in their damn faces. Know what the hell the situation is. Know who the hell you're playing. Know your opponent. Know their limitations. And play to them. If Drew Brees beat you deep legitimately, then he beat you deep legitimately. He's not going to do that. He certainly wasn't going to do that at a windy Soldier Field on a Sunday afternoon. And yet, Pagano calls these defenses, and the players, for some reason, inexplicably don't overrule him and realize how stupid this is. And it's just, your so-called offensive guru stinks. Zero imagination or creativity. Hey, the one thing I guess he actually did do on a first down, he brought in Trubisky to run. It's like, hey, it would have been nice if he called some more designed runs when the guy was your starter, you jerk off. Nobody deserved to win this game. But of course the Saints did. And now the Bears have lost. 2 in a row. And looking ahead, oh, great to get to travel to Tennessee to play a pissed-off Titans team. And you're going to say, well, the Titans can't defend anybody. Well, guess what? The Bears' offense absolutely stinks. And good luck with Derrick Henry. And then they got to play the Vikings on Monday night. The Vikings who just beat Green Bay. And you say, well, Kirk Cousins and the Vikings stink on Monday night. Well, what the hell do you think Matt Nagy does? And then coming off the bye, they got to go to Green Bay to play the Packers. Yippee! In these next 3 games, where the hell is the win? Where? If you want to say Minnesota, okay, that's fine. This is a 5-5 football team in a few weeks. And if they don't win any of those next 3 games, you're talking about a 4-6 football team? Excuse me. 5-5, whatever the fuck, you get my point. 6-4, 5-5, it doesn't matter. Even if this team somehow rallies together and pulls together, the hell makes you think they have any potential of doing anything in the playoffs? Other than screwing up their draft positioning and screwing up this organization in the long term, because you know numbnuts Ted Phillips can't wait to give Pace and Nagy a contract extension where they should both be showing the frickin' door and Ted Phillips throwing the hell out of Hell's with them. Tired of watching this crap for this stupid organization.